What's the funniest way you've outsmarted a teacher? My chemistry teacher had this ridiculous rule about water bottles. Nobody was allowed to have one on their desk during tests. She said students hid cheat sheets under the labels, so she'd walk around before every test like a prison guard, making everyone put their bottles on the floor. If she saw one on your desk, she'd throw it in the trash. No warnings, no second chances. Just straight to the garbage while giving this speech about academic honesty. I watched her toss 3 perfectly good water bottles in 2 weeks. One belonged to Marcus, who had just bought it that morning. Another was Sarah's pink one her mom got her for her birthday. The third was mine. A nice, insulated bottle that cost me 2 weeks of lunch money. She didn't even look at me when she grabbed it and dropped it in the trash like it was nothing. That's when I decided to fight back. But I wasn't going to argue or complain to the principal. I knew that wouldn't work. She'd been teaching for 20 years and nobody questioned her methods. So I came up with something better. The next week I went to the dollar store and bought 6 cheap plastic water bottles. All identical, all bright orange so she couldn't miss them. Then I spent Sunday afternoon preparing. I printed out labels, but these weren't normal labels. Each one had chemistry formulas on them, real ones from our textbook. The periodic table on one, molecular structures on another, balanced equations on the third. All stuff we were supposed to memorize anyway. Monday's test day arrived. I walked in with water bottle number 1 sitting proudly on my desk. The label faced out, showing the periodic table in tiny print. She spotted it immediately during her patrol. Without a word, she snatched it and tossed it in the trash. Next time, follow the rules, she said. I just nodded. Wednesday, another test. Water bottle number 2, this time with molecular structures wrapped around it. She saw it, shook her head like she was disappointed, and threw it away. Some people never learn, she announced to the class. By Friday, when I placed bottle number 3 on my desk, kids started noticing. A few were hiding smiles. Jake in the back row actually started filming with his phone hidden behind his backpack. She marched over, grabbed the bottle with ionic compounds on the label, and held it up. This is exactly why we have rules, she said. Then she tossed it. The 4th bottle had organic chemistry reactions. The 5th showed thermodynamics equations. By the time I brought in the 6th one, half the class was in on it. Everyone wanted to see what would happen next. She grabbed that last bottle, the one covered in electrochemistry formulas, and paused. For the first time, she actually looked at the label. Her face changed. First confused, then suspicious, then angry. She spun the bottle around, reading all the formulas. Then she looked at me. What is this? My water bottle, I said innocently. With chemistry study materials on the label. You know, since you always say we should use every opportunity to review. The room was dead quiet. Someone coughed to cover a laugh. She stood there holding my bottle, probably realizing she'd been throwing away study guides all week. Study guides that were completely legal since they were just part of the bottle design. These formulas, they're all correct, she said slowly. Yes, ma'am. I figured if I couldn't have water during tests, at least I could study while I hydrate between classes. She looked around the room. Everyone was staring. She couldn't throw it away now. It would look like she was against students studying, but she couldn't give it back either because that would mean admitting she was wrong. Finally, she set it on her desk. Fine, but no water bottles during tests means no water bottles, even educational ones. After class, something unexpected happened. She called me over and handed me $20 for the bottles I threw away, she said quietly, then louder, but don't think this changes the rule. The next week, she announced a new policy. Water bottles were allowed during tests, but only if students placed them on the floor, caps closed. She never mentioned the labels, but I noticed her squinting at everyone's bottles for the rest of the semester. Word spread to other classes. Soon, kids were showing up with bottles covered in math formulas, Spanish vocabulary, historical dates. Teachers couldn't say anything because technically, we were just staying hydrated with educational accessories. I still have one of those orange bottles. It sits on my desk at college now. Every time I see it, I remember sometimes the best revenge isn't breaking the rules. It's following them so perfectly that they have to change.